Hello, Chill Computer Guy. We're in Bitwig Studio. We're going to take a look at a few kind of fundamental things. What I love about Bitwig Studio is your ability to really, conceptually use the program. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and minimize the things on the screen we don't need, like the ins and the outs and whatnot. You can see here we have a clip launcher. You go big or small with this thing. It's kind of cool. There's different keys, different modifiers for each direction. I don't know why that is. Just make it the same modifier, Bitwig. Why do I need a different modifier for each direction? Holy shit. And I mean, I try not to swear and stuff, but it's like it's getting so hard. Anyway, here's to the far left we have played in. This is the gold. This is the hooks. These are the things you're playing this in on a MIDI keyboard. In other words, the keys are not quantized. There's a different velocity in each note. It's the human form. If you go and listen to, I was listening to the Joy Division earlier today, listening to the album Closer, and just the balance in the mix and just the dynamics. To think that every single note on that album came off of tape. It came off of human muscle and tissue, and those notes were played by human hands. I mean, there's nothing quantized about it. There's nothing that's lost about it. There's no quantizing going on. There's no taking down, chopping up the dynamic range like you see with today's MP3, 1,000 songs in your pocket kind of thing. Just take those things out of the equation, because you're making music on a computer screen. Now, me, I'm 45 years old, and this is like hard for me. There's a lack of tangibility in it. And so with this column right here on the far left, this is when the tangibility comes in. This is where you play in your notes. If you want to play in your beat, I personally don't mess with trying to play in a beat. But as far as finding the chords, as far as playing 3-note bass lines, as far as just playing in some simple melodic lines, play it in. What we're talking about today is the clip launcher, and how the horizontal clip launcher, not the vertical, not the Bitwig clip launcher, whatever you want to call it. I'm calling this a clip launcher because that's how I originally thought of it from being a student of Ableton. So any block type pattern sequencer is going to be a clip launcher, because look at Live. That's what started it. But we're talking about a horizontal clip launcher here in Bitwig Studio. Now, the fact that you could split the screen like that, you got your arranger on the right, your clips on the left, and you can click the buttons up here. And if you click, turn them on and off, it's a simple and or type of situation, and that's pretty cool. But what I find myself doing is going from one to the other, okay? So in other words, if I take this and I drag this over here, I start my arranging. Now, the arranging can be where shit breaks down. And I mean, if you find yourself making a 1-bar, a 2-bar, a 4-bar, 8-bar even loop, you get into this box, and the box just stacks up in your archive folder, if you know what I mean. The beats are just not, you can't just listen to a 2, 4-bar, 8-bar. You got to get into the arranger. If you're not constantly dipping your toe into the arranger, you will not finish a song. And this is something that took me years to learn. Again, tangibility. I don't want to stare at blocks on a screen. But if you play in your notes, you will get a unquantized human feel. Will also have velocity variations, a human thing. Now with modern keyboards, you can get something called AF or AT rather, aftertouch. That means when you hold the note down, if you give it a little extra pressure, you're going to get some modifier there. And we're going to demonstrate just real quick on the VS. This is the virtual string machine right here. This is a VST that was on sale recently. It's a beautiful piece. What we're looking at is we're looking at AT. This is AT right here, okay? It controls the filter. Okay, I'm going to introduce some AT. You can see how I give it. You give it the human feel because it's actually picking up aftertouch. Now, this is when the digital piece meets the physical piece of the creative world right here, because this is aftertouch. This is a human feel that you could never really, it's a new discovery, and it's something that every person can have with a, we're going to talk about this MIDI keyboard here. This is the Alesis, I don't know what the fuck it's called. Jesus Christ. Alesis V61, 61 keys. And this is, if you're going to get one keyboard and this could be considered a budget keyboard, but you got to look for sales on this piece, because this is the MIDI keyboard you need because it has aftertouch. Now, what this keyboard does for you is it gives you aftertouch, and it gives you a really just a really nice built, really sturdy, professional feeling MIDI keyboard right here. With aftertouch. All right, enough about aftertouch. But that's a new dynamic here, and Bitwig Studio really does take advantage of it in a full kind of way. So what we're looking at is played in. So this is where you're going to originate, and then you're going to come over to 88. Now, the next column over is 88. Now, this is going to be the base BPM of the track, okay? 88 here, okay? So what that means is the played-in notes have been quantized, and I'll show you the quantized settings that I use default, usually 16th notes, okay? 16th notes will keep you out of trouble as far as things fitting together. Now, when you do quantize, you do not want to touch the velocity. You do want to quantize the note onto the grid, therefore you can mathematically make it work and then blur it a little bit with maybe some reverb or some delay. But what you want to do is you want to have everything locked to a 16th note at least. But the velocity, you want that all completely natural, how it was played in. Again, if you're drawing in your notes, you're not going to get that natural velocity. So if you play them in, oh, that's so nice. Again, coming from the virtual string machine. Check this out. I don't know if it's on sale anymore. This was 66% off. And you got the expansion packs for it. This is normally like probably 150. I think the synth or the virtual string machine itself is normally a $99 VST, and then the expansion packs are like 20 or 30 bucks a pop. So, to have this all, I think it was 60% off. You basically got the whole setup for like, I don't know, 30 bucks or something. So it was a steal. What I love about this particular VST is it has a very, very human feel. Like I also like another VST, I'll just bring it up real quick, is Legend, okay? This is another really, really, really solid VST. It's a natural sounding VST. This is great for bass sounds. Like the bass sounds, all these bass sounds in here are the Legend. This right here. Listen to this filter. Anyway, the Legend, oh, my favorite VST for bass sound. Again, the thing is I'm trying to get as far from perfect as humanly possible. So any kind of random variation they add to the VST setup to me is a winner. And the String Machine and Legend both really, really have that. So this is going to be kind of my new, kind of higher register VST that I'm going to work a lot of my sounds with. Is the virtual string machine right here. Oh, man. So check it out, the Legend, the string machine. Oh, beautiful, beautiful VSTs. Again, there's a certain randomness going on with the algorithm there that just makes it human feel. If you think about it, just randomize every possible parameter. When the voltage went through a vacuum tube, it was all over the place, man. It was so far from precise. It was ridiculous, and just anything you can get close to that sound. All right, so let's check out this track. 88 is our bass BPM. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in 88. I was experimenting around a little bit here with some stuff, but this is played in. This column's empty because I actually brought these clips in from other projects. I'm working on archiving and also putting together tracks kind of simultaneously. With it being 2020, I was way behind, and now with I seem to have a little bit of extra time, but boy, I'm scared to go outside, so I gotta keep my my mental chops in order, I guess. But yeah, I'm not gonna put any titles on there. Probably I might put a little cut on the beginning or something. But I'm just gonna kind of try to get it out there. So 88 is where we're at. Like I say, these are all clips that were drug in from other projects. Actually, there's 2 different projects. Basically, I took 2 different projects, same BPM, same key, and I combined them. And then basically that's where the root of these instruments, this sound design, and these particular tracks come from. Okay, so we're going to play 88 BPM, and this is going to be the bass of the track. Now, 1 over is going to be double time. Okay, so that's like setting the tempo at 176, but you're spreading the notes out. And by spreading the notes out, it's going to make it play extremely slow, but you get control of the shuffle that way. So if you go over to here to play, you go to like an 8th note shuffle, you give it, turn it up all the way. So it's maxed out right now. So this shuffle is the most intense shuffle you can possibly have. Again, these were not played in, they're all quantized. And you get these 2 different kind of things going on. And basically, you start to kind of pick between them. Now, this is the 88 root, which means that these are all the clips. And I'll explain the naming convention. So that's the 88 root, okay? So this is going to be every possible MIDI clip that you, when arranging, you're pulling back and forth. By pulling back and forth, I mean eventually, I got like 4 or 5 different kinds of basses here. I have different MIDI lanes. I have, double time, some of them. And what I'm doing is swapping between them, okay? So you take your 88 root and you take your double time, which in this case is 176. These are BPMs, okay? Remember, this is the template you want to be saving, is the BPM. Set this clip launcher, let me call it that one more time, but that's what you're going to do. You're going to set that stuff up. And, when you hit the 88 root, you're going to get all the shit at once, which is not what you want, because, again, these are going to be, once you get into arranging, you're going to have these kind of swapped in. Let's stop that right away. Oh, my God. And then we got double time, same jam, but what we got here is we got certain parts, of course, are muted out. So check that out here. Now you can hear that. That sounds almost comical. That sounds like funny. That sounds like like funny like comedy music, you know, because the shuffle is so intense. Because remember, we put on eighth notes, maxed out eighth note shuffle, so we're getting too much shuffle. So we got to pull that down. Go to 16th. It's like think of the compressor. This is your ratio, you know. An eighth is like a very high ratio, so you're gonna feel that shuffle a lot more. 16th is a lower ratio, you know, a smaller bit, if you will, and so you're gonna feel that shuffle less intensely. Basically, you're moving the note by a 16th or you're moving the note by an eighth. So this is going to be a much, much deeper shuffle. And the 16th is going to be a much lighter shuffle. This is a bunch of different projects kind of going on at the same time because this is actually a root that I was also working on. And this is actually the BPM of 126, I believe. Was it 127? I think it's 127. We'll just listen to this jam real quick here. No shuffle. No shuffle. We're not adding any shuffle yet. Now, I'm going to stop right here. You hear how that bass sounds like it's like crumbling apart? Like I'm just thinking of it as like this crusty, like burnt up, like shrapnel, and it just like breaks apart when you play the note, you know. And what that is there is that's the so this is, you know what I'm talking about, this machine, this virtual string machine. This was a shot in the arm for me in a music production sense because I was unmotivated. I wasn't want to work on anything, you know, just kind of laying down too much. I'm just kind of going a little crazy there. So we get in there and start to work on the music. And it's like virtual string machine. I saw that deal, took advantage of it, and this has been like a shot in the arm. I'm getting back into music production. All it takes is one smart VST, and this is it, the virtual string machine. Because take that perfection out. You don't want that perfection. You want something dirty. You want something just broken. You want a broken piece, you know. I'm just holding the key down. You can say holding the key down. And this thing is swung into some sort of random, just beautiful tone machine, you know. Check out the virtual string machine. That's all I'm saying. That's going to be one of the highlights on this video today. We're going to go ahead and listen to this some more. I don't remember where we stopped. Let's just go from the top, and we'll talk more about this track. I don't know. I got to keep this one short tonight because I'm going to try to start to really get in the momentum of publishing again here. Some videos, getting it together, you know, grout head style. You know, Chill Computer Guy, the Deep Studio. We actually opened the Deep Studio up, so we're kind of, you know, reforming the room down here and whatnot. We're getting a little bit more space in here, which is kind of exciting. So, all right, let's jam it out. right, man, I gotta spot something. Yeah, let me know if put in the comment if anybody else has been losing their cursor behind Bitwig. And what I mean by that is like the cursor just disappears. Like, okay, it's back up. Like you gotta like literally hit the mouse button to get the cursor back, you know. And I don't know if this has been going on with anybody else, but it's quite disturbing. All right, that was a little out of place. Let's go ahead and start it back right here. All right, check it out. Something about Bitwig is there's a lot of modifier keys, but I don't know. It's just the idea of being able to make this kind of pin stuff all around is pretty powerful. What I would like to do is be able to pin maybe these two icons here, maybe something that just shows my automation. Every single piece of automation on my track, I want to see them all right now. So I need that button because right now, you can hold down on shift, okay? And so you hit the automation, you hit shift, and it'll open stuff up. But sometimes there's like this thing, and then it's like the way the automation's done is I find myself always having a monkey with it. I just want like a button that shows every piece of automation on my track. Like maybe up here in this spare little room, we could have a button, show all automation. Because to me, it's the shift key. So you could turn that down, right? Then you can also turn this up, bust out that, Okay, so now we got that. So now we can see all of our automation and everything's all fat. Takes up a lot of room. So now you got to hit this, and then that'll get rid of your automation, show everything fat, and then of course you can get rid of both of them. So basically, you can see there's a lot of work going on with those buttons, and just a way to basically take it from here to showing all my automation, you know what I mean? And then maybe another button to like make wide tracks right down here like I'm doing here, or maybe a default, because sometimes you want these, you got to remember your modifier. Oh shit, it's a different modifier for each direction. Get that going there. Just kind of like a work on that. A little bit of a work in that area. Just kind of make some buttons that do what you want. Also, let's say hypothetically in this track, I wanted to turn all these clips to double time. The fact is, if I select them all and then I just hit the icon, which is scale 200% right here, this ideally should make every single MIDI note in every single MIDI clip twice as long, making the clips twice as long. But the problem is where there's no clips, it can't figure it out. So basically double all my pauses as well on my rests, if you will. Yeah, I got 8 bar and then 1 bar nothing. And then I got 4 bar, 1 bar nothing, and then another 8 bar. But see, if I select all these and then I scale 200%, you can see that that's going to, it's like a ripple delete issue, or something. That's not what I want at all. And so the only way to put this entire, lane, let's say, into double time, is there's really no way to do it, is to move every single clip, and like there's no really easy way to do it. So here, if you put everything, now it's grayed out, but that's because you got audio. But if you highlight just the MIDI now, you hit that same key, you have that option, but again, it's that ripple delete issue where it's just kind of smashing. It's not taking the gaps into account. Double time, is something that is a time-based thing, in my opinion. And so if you talk about that, you talk about this tool here, which is the time tool. This is a very powerful tool. One of my favorite tools because it's like a lasso. You can lasso your entire project, and that represents a time. So you can hit Control D, it's pretty crazy. You can do everything you need to, right? But this is exactly where scale 200% or scale down 50%, it should be in the time selection tool. But if we look, it's not there. Now, I love some of these options. I love the insert silence and the duplicate. I love this stuff. But I want to have scale 200% or scale down 50%. I want it right here in the time. I don't have that. I don't have the options there. It's just, so yeah, that needs to get into Bitwig quick because this tool's really powerful. But without the scale, like, let's say I'm like, I want to do my whole track in double time. I got my arranger all sprawled out. There's really no way to do that, because, so that's something to look at there. Anyway, that's it tonight. Chill Computer Guy. Thanks for hanging out, listening to me a little bit. Everything mathematically should be working out when you talk about whole notes and half notes and eighth notes and 16th. That's why play it in so you get that human feel. But mathematically, you might want to quantize the 16th notes when it comes to arranging or putting stuff together. But also use your samples and set in your preferences, set them to Elastica Pro on all the samples. That way, when you drag your sample in, it'll automatically make it 2 or 4 or 1 bar loop. It'll basically quantize it for you. With the Elastica Pro, it sounds pretty darn well. And that is really going to speed up your workflow as far as dragging samples into your projects. So definitely don't forget about that. Play around with double time, but definitely as far as templates go, make them in your quote-unquote clip launcher. That's where you want your stuff to go down, because when you're just messing around with sound design, you're messing around with 1 bar loops or 8 bar loops. This is where you want them. You want them very, very well organized in here. Then you open up your arranger, then you start to sprawl that out a little bit, and also when you're over here, you can mess around with some double time. You can mess around with some shuffle. And what I do is, drag tons of audio loops in here. Find a key, work your key. That's a big, big thing. Don't start dragging random shit in. You got to know your key. Know what key your song's going to be. And I'm not saying you can't stray from it, but that's another thing is Bitwig. I'd like to have like a tuner, some sort of a thing that could pick up a sample and tell me. I know you can get in there with the EQ. So that'd be something to look into. It's a little tuner. You could throw it on your track and really see, make sure your stuff's in key, Check out A Melodic Minor. That's the scale I've been using a lot, is A Melodic Minor. And basically what that is you start on A and no sharps and flats, right? And then the last two white notes, you bump them up to black notes like that, you know? And that's going to give you A melodic minor. Love that scale. Why I love that scale is you can be on the root note and you can dip it down, and you're going down a semitone, but you're also going to a minor key. And so those two together, like you can kind of drag that through the bottom when you're writing a melody. Drag down, you know, past the root and hit those two, you know, bottom flats, you know, and just, it's just a good way to get a little emotional tug. Anyway, Chill Computer Guy, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, tell a friend about the channel. We're going to try to get some more videos up. If I don't have a chance to put a header on this thing, I might just publish it like this, like a live thing or something, you know. But yeah, check that out, Bitwig Studio. Hopefully, you know, you'll see this video, just little things from an analytical music producer who just understands the tangibility of playing the beautiful instrument, you know, and this is going as you're the best die. You're the best die there is. But these are things I need to see, you know, as far as, you know, what I kind of discussed tonight a little bit. But that's what I hope to see in a Bitwig 3.5, maybe 3.5 or something like that. Anyway, Chill Computer Guy. We'll see you guys again. Bye-bye now.